Before we get started with today's video, do check out the 10,000 Valorant point giveaway that we're doing at the moment. All of the details and the link are in the description and top comment, and it ends on Friday, the 10th of September. Good luck. Hey guys, my name is RyanCentral, and welcome to HitScan, and welcome to Fracture. Map number 7 in the Valorant universe. It's a pretty good one. It's a hell of a lot of fun, as we'll talk about in this video, but it's also maybe a little bit more complicated to break down in a video, so I'll do it as quick as possible. Also, if you want to see the map in action or ask me any questions about it, I'm streaming at twitch.tv/RyanCentral, and I'm watch partying the show match that's happening with streamers right now as this video goes live. So come check it out, ask any questions, and see how some better players than me play the map. First question is, what is the gimmick? Well, as an attacker, you could sort of see that I don't really have much space that I could take when it comes to the attacker spawn on this side. I could get this close to A hall, and for B tree, you can sort of see I can't go that far at all. So what is the gimmick? Well, you've probably noticed these straight away or seen clips. These zip wires can be used in the buy phase by both teams throughout the round, but certainly in the buy phase, to allow you to get in behind the defenders and take space from the northerly sides. You might wonder where the defenders spawn actually, and that is the center of the map here. The gameplay on screen is from a defender's perspective, the space that they can take. They can of course get on to all of the sites to set up their utility and play from there. But they have to be careful of 4 main quadrants, and they're the quadrants that we're going to highlight in this video more than anything. You've got A hall, A dish, B tree, and B bench. We'll start with A hall. We'll start with the straightforward side, and because it's a typical A main approach. Like, this is nothing out of the ordinary. You can throw utility down, you can smoke it off, you can make your way through. Very typical to B main on the scent, where you've got these sort of corners that people can play from. And then you make your way onto the site, which we'll highlight in a second. The interesting point about this, first of all, is that there's 4 obs on the map, 1 in each of the different quadrants. So you can really feast on some of the obs on this map. If you're a Sky, 1 round, you're over halfway to having your ultimate if you manage to Hungry Hippos all of them. Keep it secret, keep it safe. I just realized that was a Lord of the Rings reference, but yeah. This is the main A main position. The cool, interesting thing that they've added, much like the shoe on Breeze, is this doorway. Now if you step on it, you get close, you step on the yellow parts of this, it opens up. It opens up from either side, so as a defender, I could be in this position. I want to take a peek to see if there's anything going on. I can do. And I guess the coolest thing about this, for Sova players, anybody with utility that's throwable, you can throw this, and it will go through the door. So you can throw recon darts through here, you can throw guiding lights, trailblazers, Eldrons, they all will go through here without a hitch. So as an attacker, you can go through here. Obviously, there's a glaringly obvious noise when it comes to, as an attacker, you pushing through this. I mean, it's pretty a disgusting noise. You obviously have the zip wire where the defenders can play from. They can throw utility from up here, and you got the defender spawn here. So this is how easily defenders can get into these spots, and how easily defenders can rotate from either side. They have a lot of ground to cover when it comes to all of these 4 quadrants, but it is very quick and easy for a defender to get from this spot to this spot. It really is just a case of 5 to 10 seconds. So attackers need to know what they're doing, to say the very least. Now that's the odd approach onto A main. We'll highlight the B site, and then we'll talk about satellite, which is just up here. The A site, kind of typical of what we've seen before. We've got this hell position. It's a bit bigger than, say, the A site on Ascent. There's a lot of places you could play from, but a little bit more out in the open. Bear in mind, these are now wall bangable, so you can't really plant here safely. It can be a big problem because the defenders are obviously going to be up in this position, as we just highlighted. This is the little wraparound, so they can come through here, spray this box. And the defenders are also going to be positioned here for the most part. The big thing to sort of learn, if you're obviously new to the map, is learning to not smoke off or use utility on this position. Obviously, the defenders can be in this spot. This is a terrible smoke, by the way. But you've got to think of it of, if you're hitting a site for an execute, smoking this off is effectively smoking off a direction that your team can come from. So you got to be very careful with how you use utility, such as smoke, such as recon darts, and clearing areas that are more important. So like here's a really good place to smoke because that's where defenders can come from. This is the A site. It's straightforward enough here. It's very tight. It's a little bit open. So that's one way to get onto the A site. The other one, if we actually ghost all the way back over to the zip line, is over here. So we go over the zip line. We can make our way through here. This is the main satellite area. There's orb number 2. You have stuff to play around. And you can actually make your way up onto this little bit of high ground. So if you have a nice split with your teammates can be coming out of here. Some of your teammates could be coming out of here or trying to take that space up on the zip line, and you could be making your way here. So you see what I mean? Like, you don't want to smoke or wall off this position because a late attacker can lurk here and get some really good kills on defenders that aren't expecting it. Right, this is a more straightforward place to approach, but the big question for players now is getting into your head that this is space that you should be taking, because it's very difficult to do that. We had a lot of pushes through A main and B main as an example. We weren't really exploiting these positions maybe as much as we should be. But that's the A site. If you have any questions, by the way, put them in the comments below. I'm still away technically, so I'll do my best to answer them or answer them in a future video. But that is the A site. The sites are straightforward. The sites are really easy to get your head around. Certainly the A site. The B site is a little bit more complicated. B main is sort of as expected. You've got this little bit of high ground that the defenders can come out on. There's orb number 3. And as you make your way onto the B site, this is all of the plantable positions. You can be in this little cubby, for example, and play from there. And certainly this is a little bit more complicated. If you go through this direction, you go through to the defender spawn, and you can see what I mean, just how quickly it is to rotate from A site. Oh, they're on B. Okay. I mean, obviously I shouldn't be ghosting, but here I am. It's super quick and easy for defenders to rotate around. So as attackers, you need to be pushing various different positions and holding various different positions to make sure that defenders can't retake that space away from you for free. So this is the main area of tree. It's a straightforward engagement, to be honest. We'll talk about sewers in a second because it's not complicated, but you need to really know the other side of the map. So yep, B main. If we zoom all the way over here, by the way, this is super cool, super beautiful, nice idea for a map. Now we go onto the northerly quadrant of B. There's the sewers that we were just talking about. It connects underneath. I'll show that in a second. And from this side, you can peek around this corner. There's the final orb. Make your way onto the B site. You go through here. These are the rotating positions that we just spoke about. Yeah, that part isn't too complicated. The site is just a little bit more confusing maybe than the A site. And sorry if this is a bit more long-winded. Probably somebody's done a better job at being more succinct and editing this, but it's a really interesting and fun map. And it's all about really bullying certain positions. Like, for example, like I said before, as attackers, you'll naturally push these positions a lot more than, say, these two, just because it's not really instinctive. But what I found, certainly played a bit of Viper on the last day, is there's a really nice lineup here that allows you to sort of block off all of these positions. It goes all the way to B main, and you could sort of use this to, first of all, smoke yourself through. You're not going to get picked up by anybody in this position. So you can smoke this off again in a second. Make your way into sewers, which we'll talk about now. You know, make your way in. It's straightforward. You actually hear the defenders rotating if you're underneath here, which is also a nice little audio cue. Here we are onto B main, onto B tree. You can see that the smoke actually, if you're another attacking player, I really like this smoke. I'm really proud of it. I'm not very good at lineups, but this is something that I think teams are going to be using. You can smoke this off. You've got a bit more protection, and a defender even needs to get quite deep in order to take a fight. So people can get really close. Over onto the B site. Of course, if you plant this this toxic screen, sort of protects all of the players in the spot, including a high one onto here. At this point, I'm actually going to play some of the gameplay. Playing not on my typical native setup is not great, so I kind of threw a couple of the rounds when it comes to performance, but it is what it is overall. It's a really fun map. It's kind of crazy. It gets a bit out there. It's certainly more leaning towards something like Overwatch than Counter-Strike as a map, which take it whichever way you want. I think they've actually struck a really nice balance between a fun, out there kind of map, but also something that competitively is still fun to play. It's still fair. It's not too stupid. It just feels like this is the game's version of Nuke, of Vertigo from Counter-Strike, but actually good. The only concern I have for this map isn't anything to do with the gameplay side of it. I think it plays brilliantly. I think it really leans into what makes Valorant a unique tactical shooter in comparison to Siege or Counter-Strike, because obviously all of the abilities. My only concern is that we get to a position, much like we kind of have with certainly Icebox, but also a little bit of Breeze as well. A problem that I don't think people are talking about is that when you get to the highest tier, it becomes a point where you have to play 5 particular agents. Like on this map, just from the lineup, the reason why I wanted to show that is I think Viper on this map is a must pick. There's some maps where she isn't, you know, Haven, Ascent, depending on which teams you talk to, of course. But this feels like another map where Viper's a must pick. Jet's going to be a must pick because Jet is Jet. Sky, Silver, that's 4 out of 5 agents already decided on this map. So I feel that whilst this is a very creative and adaptive and a map that you need to be able to take space on, I really do think that certainly towards Immortal, Radiant, and of course the pro scene, this is going to be a map that gets a bit, if we're not playing Viper, we're throwing, which from an Overwatch background concerns me, because no meta is fun when you have to play 5 different agents. For ranked play for the rest of us, this is a goldmine. It's going to be kind of difficult to get your head around it. Of course, there's going to be teammates on either side that just don't know how the map works, and it's going to be super confusing. So get your head around it as fast as you possibly can. But also, people are going to be playing Reyna, Jet, Raze, Phoenix. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. People are going to be playing whatever agents they want. So you have a bit more creative freedom, and because of that, the map's going to be a lot of fun to play. I just think once you get to the top tier, it's going to become play these 5 agents or you're effectively throwing, which from a viewing perspective for esports isn't that exciting. I think we're going to be seeing this map for last chance qualifiers for VCT, which is in October. So yeah, this is a brilliant map. This is the best map that they've put in since Ascent. But it's nothing like Ascent. It's really the big spectrum between a neutral tactical shooting map like Ascent. It is just effectively a CSGO map in Valorant, versus this, which you'd never really see in Counter-Strike. There's no way in hell. You have some interesting creative maps like Nuke and Vertigo in CS, but this goes beyond it. And because of that, it's a lot more fun to play. I just feel it's going to get the reputation that Nuke and Vertigo get in Counter-Strike, where nobody wants to play it because it's confusing. But I think the minimap makes it look really good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I always find it very difficult to talk about maps. It's a little bit more nuanced than an agent where it's, hey, these are their abilities, go nuts. This is the most complicated map that we will probably ever have in the game. That's certainly something I want to ask the devs when I get the chance. But it is the most fun. I've never laughed so much in a map. I've never got so many knife kills. There's a lot of flanking. CT as a callout doesn't make sense. Flank or behind is a redundant, useless callout. But it is crazy fun, and I'm really excited to see your guys' perspective once you get to play it, because I think some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. That's just the natural fracture in the community. I'm going to see myself out. Thanks guys for watching. There's been no actual Z skins or anything like that in the playtest yet. The battle pass isn't even available to look at yet, so we'll let you know on that. Probably going to see that more on like Tuesday next week, but that's a bit of an update on that. Be sure to enter the giveaway if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Take care. I'll see you then.